So, we recently got a trailer for the new Thunderbolts movie, which by all means looks fantastic. The action for me is on point, and definitely reminds me of the grounded stuff we saw back in the Winter Soldier, which was over 10 years ago now. Now, when watching the trailer itself, I realised there might be several people who don't know who the Thunderbolts actually are, so for the purposes of educating newer MCU fans, I decided to make this video. What I'm going to do is give you the important information you need to know about the Thunderbolts team from the comics, and recapping where we last saw the members of the team in the films. So the Thunderbolts first made their debut in the mid to late 90s in Marvel Comics and was originally formed by Baron Zemo, who we know these days as a well-known Captain America villain and a terrific dancer. The team was reformed initially as the Masters of Evil so that Zemo and the others could attack the Avengers. Before they could do so, however, the Avengers and the Fantastic Four were seemingly killed by Onslaught, who was basically a well-known X-Men villain. So following this, Zemo realised that the world needed superpowered champions, and that his team could fill that need. By posing as superheroes, the Masters of Evil could gain the public trust and build a position of power that rivaled the status of the Avengers. Once they had gained the public's faith, Zemo actually believed they could gain access to the secrets of the Avengers and S.H.I.E.L.D. once they were in ultimate power. Now, the villains in the team originally included Baron Zemo, a Spider-Man villain known as the Beetle, along with Fixer, Moonstone, and Screaming Mimi. Yeah, these are some weird supervillain names. These aforementioned villains then masqueraded themselves as new heroes. Zemo became Citizen V, Beetle, with a new suit designed by Fixer, became Mark I, Fixer himself became the gadget-wielding Techno, longtime Avengers enemy Goliath became the powerhouse Atlas, and Screaming Mimi became Songbird, using technology initially adapted from Ulysses Claw, who we know is a major Black Panther villain. Now, whilst the initial lineup included Zemo, Beetle, Fixer, Goliath, Screaming Mimi, and Moonstone, the team itself has cycled through new members throughout the years. The lineup we're soon to be seeing in the movie has roots in the comics' ever-changing lineup, as the members have at one point or another joined the team. Bucky, in fact, was at one point the leader of his team of Thunderbolts, whilst other heroes like Ghost, Taskmaster, and Yelena Belova were all part of previous iterations throughout the Thunderbolts' history of the team. Now, the movie lineup of the Thunderbolts incorporates members that we've seen in the comics with a few additions here and there. So comic members of the team include Yelena Belova, Bucky, Taskmaster, and Ghost, whilst members not originally in the team include John Walker and Red Guardian. Sentry we could include here to some respect, but that does remain to be seen. And now we're going to go through the Thunderbolts team and detail where exactly we last saw each of these characters. So starting off with Yelena Belova, played by Florence Pugh, we last saw her in the Hawkeye Disney Plus series. And in the Thunderbolts film especially, it's possible she's maybe taken over the Black Widow mantle from Natasha Romanoff, with Romanoff of course having died in Endgame. Bucky Barnes, played by Sebastian Stan of course, we last saw in 2021 with the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Now, this is going to be interesting because I, and I'm sure many of the MCU fans, are curious about what Bucky's been up to since then, with Sam now taking on the mantle of Captain America. Next up, we have Ava Starr, aka Ghost, who we were introduced to in 2018 with Ant-Man and the Wasp. For those who don't know, Ghost was originally in the comics an Iron Man villain, and appeared in the MCU played by Hannah John Kamen. As a side note, we have seen the character of Ghost appear in the Iron Man VR game, where she is very similar to the MCU counterpart. Moving on to Red Guardian, aka Alexei Shostakov, I think, who was played by David Harbour. We last saw him in the Black Widow movie, and regarding animation, we're actually going to be seeing him in Season 3 of What If, alongside Bucky. Now, next up is US Agent, who, like Bucky, we last saw in the Falcon and Winter Soldier. And lastly, we have Val and Taskmaster, the latter being seen last in Black Widow alongside Alexei, whilst we last saw Val in Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Now, one of the other selling points of this movie is the introduction of the Sentry, played in this film by Lewis Pullman, known for his role in Top Gun Maverick. Anyway, for those who perhaps don't know, Sentry has been described by many to be Marvel's answer to Superman, similar to how people compare Moon Knight to Batman, though there are more layers to the character in each regard. But moving on. The plot of this movie seems to be a few of these villains being given the task of breaking into some kind of vault. That vault then being revealed to contain the Sentry due to his immense power. Now, Sentry in the comics is immensely powerful, and it has taken on the likes of the Hulk in combat, and that is something that not every Marvel hero can claim to have done.
No? I'm Marvel Jesus, you dull creature, and I want...
But how long has Sentry been locked up in this vault? That we don't know, and I suspect we'll see more backstory on him in the movie. Now, one of the bigger questions about this movie is the asterisk in the title of the film. This suggests that the Thunderbolts might evolve into something else entirely by the film's conclusion. Now, I think characters like Yelena and Bucky will be sticking around for the foreseeable depending on how Secret Wars turns out, but what exactly does this asterisk mean? Well, I think the most well-known theory is that the Thunderbolts, likely with the addition of 1 or 2 new members, will evolve into the Dark Avengers. This could tie in with the fact that quite a few years ago there were rumours of a Dark Avengers script having been completed, though I'm uncertain as to whether those rumours were actually legit. Now, I like this idea, but there could be some logistical factors that come with that. We know in Brave New World that President Ross, played by Harrison Ford now, R.I.P. William Hurt, will become the Red Hulk, and the conclusion of this movie will likely see Sam Wilson leading a new team of Avengers, consisting of some newer characters. If you want to see my in-depth thoughts on that, go check out my video where I basically break down how Doomsday will set up Secret Wars. Anyway, I think the end credit scene of Brave New World might see Ross working with Val to launch their own team of quote-unquote heroes with the Thunderbolts initiative. However, all of that is up in the air at the moment because both Brave New World and Thunderbolts are yet to release. Though I suspect they might be kept separate, I have no idea. Now, another question I have is whether or not there are bigger plans for this team specifically. I think that's absolutely the case. The asterisk definitely seems to hint at these characters becoming members of a Dark Avengers team down the line, but I have a little twist on that idea because I'm at least 95% sure that a few of these characters are going to die in the movie, because I think the Thunderbolts is kind of Marvel's answer to the Suicide Squad in some regard, but then again, that comparison might be a bit dated now. Anyway, I think by the end of this movie we'll see Bucky or perhaps Yelena leading a new team of Thunderbolts that evolves into a Dark Avengers team. I think Val could end up dying and either Bucky or Yelena will take over the team, and more members could eventually be recruited. That could include Zemo, depending on where he's ended up. We could include Red Hulk in there, depending on whether the timeline works out in that regard. But yeah, who these members are we still don't know. I would like to see Harrison Ford join the roster as Red Hulk, though that depends on how Brave New World turns out. And in conclusion, those are my thoughts on the Thunderbolts trailer, the guide on these characters in the comics, and how I think the movie might turn out, and whether or not we'll get the Dark Avengers at some point. But if you enjoyed this video, by all means be sure to like and comment, also subscribe so you don't miss videos like this. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon.